Welcome to the Forward Moves podcast, a place where we talk about all things operations and marketing for your fitness business.
And where we bring on industry-leading guests to help you get the inside scoop.
I'm your host, Ash.
And I'm your co-host, Kira. And let's get into the episode of today. Welcome back. We are here today with someone who is known for her tough love approach within business and coaching. And she has generated over $500K in revenue in her business in the last financial year. Welcome to the podcast, Kate Morris.
That was a really good intro. I always like to know how people intro me or anyone. That was a really good one. Thank you.
We decided to make our intros really quirky moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. So you've got a special place in my heart because I have spoken about you on our podcast, but I actually haven't mentioned your name. And I was talking about how I got mindset help last year. And this is who I'm talking about, everyone.
The
I went and
woman
worked
behind
with
it
Kate.
all. I actually didn't know that. I don't
Really?
think. Yeah.
I told you.
Oh, I don't know. It's been a big year.
Remember when I was having like my mental breakdown last year?
Yeah. I think I was focused on keeping you afloat.
But yeah, a very special place in my heart because you do business and mindset and you really helped me get over a lot of barriers, which was crazy good. I actually want to ask you, I'm going straight off here. Your mindset in business is unbelievable. So bulletproof. Have you ever had moments of not having a strong mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting for me because a lot of people see me that way, right? Like I have a very go-getter attitude. I've got like a no bullshit approach to everything that I do in life. But that only came from dealing with the shit of growing a business. So when I first started, I was crippled by the fear of failure. I was completely controlled by what other people thought of me. And that was always like a dictating factor of how well I either showed up or didn't show up in my business. So I think throughout my business journey, building that more bulletproof mindset has come from actually being in the fucking trenches originally, like what most business owners struggle with. When I think to like naturally who I am as a person, if you were to ask my family, they would describe me as like a go-getter, super passionate, savage. That's just how I've always been. So I've naturally had that approach, but I don't think I would have built the business that I have or the minds that I have around business if I didn't go through the shit that we all deal with when growing a business.
Do you remember what triggered it? Like what flicked the switch and made you just not care anymore?
So it's actually something one of my mentors taught me was I feel like when people get in, and I'm going to talk to like online business for a quick second here. When people get into the online space, whether they are a personal trainer, mindset coach, whatever they do, they're focusing on the wrong thing. I spent so long focusing on what other people thought of me, people that didn't know me, probably were never going to meet me, didn't know who I was behind the scenes, instead of focusing on who actually loved me and what they thought of me. So people like my friends, my family, my mom, my dad, and we get really caught up in trying to be authentic online, I say in quotations, but we're trying to be authentic for the wrong people. We're trying to be authentic for people that don't know us. So I actually did what one of my mentors told me to do was like ask my friends and family, the people that are the closest to me, how do they view you? What do you like? What are you passionate about? Because that's the thing that you're wanting to kind of like bring onto social media. And that was when it kind of all changed for me. I did that exercise. I asked like all my friends and family. It was cool, just like cool little audit for me. And that's when I kind of looked at like, all right, where am I mismatch here? Like I care more about what other people think. I care more about failing in front of like people I'm never going to meet in real life, probably ever, versus like the people that actually love me and know me. Like that's more embarrassing if I am acting like somebody I'm not on social media to the people that actually know me versus people that don't know me. Does that make sense?
I feel like that's such a good way to describe show up authentically online where like people are like, okay, but what does that mean? I feel like that is like the perfect description of how to show up authentic is that your closest people to you wouldn't be surprised at who they see online compared to who they see in real life.
Yeah. I think as well, it was also like my brother doesn't have social media, right? So like he looked at my profile and he was like, you're not like this. Like called me out on my shit, right? So I was trying to be, because like obviously the fear of failure, you're trying to protect yourself and you try to come across as somebody completely different. And he was like, this is not you. And that was like a moment for me like, why do I care about what other people are thinking of me when like I should be caring about what people who know me think of me?
Yeah, I love that. I feel like maybe we should like backtrack a little bit for people who are listening who might not know who you are. Do you want to give like a little bit of an introduction to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Kate. I started kind of my whole, I guess, business journey in, actually, let's rewind. I am a qualified nutritionist, personal trainer, and now business coach. So I started in the health and fitness industry, doing my degree, working as a nutritionist, absolutely hating it. And then alongside that, I decided, you know what, I'm going to learn or educate myself in fitness. Never with the dream or goal to own a business. I just wanted to do it because when I was working as a nutritionist, there was such a missing gap between people coming in for the help that they needed, but they didn't necessarily want, versus the action of actually applying the things that I was telling them. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to see if I can do or learn more about training side of things with no idea of owning a business. Then I hated my nutrition job at the time and I thought, you know what have I got to lose? I'll just sign up to a gym, like a commercial gym as a PT, and I'll see how it goes. And I ended up getting like booked out within 3 months of working on that gym floor. I was very, very lucky. There was like 14 other personal trainers, but I was one of the only like self-employed PTs there. Lucky that there was lots of leads at the gym and obviously I got really good at what I was doing. And then COVID happened. So lost 80% of my business overnight and I essentially had to learn how to market myself, learn how to build a business in the online space, and pretty much go from like 10 clients to 110 clients in 3 months. And then I was able to hire a team and kind of scale and grow my business from there.
Wow, within 3 months, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's amazing. That would have been a lot.
Yeah, I went from literally having like 10 online clients to a wait list of 400 girls wanting to work with me. And then I had to hire 2 team members and like a full-time VA because it just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. But at the time I had no systems, no structure. So it was very like anxiety filled.
Yeah, I could imagine.
What made you move into the business mentor space?
It happened really naturally for me. So I was already mentoring La Trobe University students post their degrees with helping them find career pathways or if they wanted to start their own businesses. And I just was doing that as a volunteer on the side for free. And I was really loving the work that I was doing with these people. And then naturally, as my business was growing, there was a lot of coaches that were reaching out like, how are you getting clients? How are you doing this? Can I have help with this? And then I thought, okay, maybe I should start moving into this space a little bit more. I had people being like, I'll pay you to get coffee with you. Like, I just want to pick your brain about business. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to get into business mentoring. And that took me 2 years because of my fear of failure. I was so crippled that people are going to judge me. I was going to fail if I launched this. I also was pivoting from being just the personal trainer to now the business coach. Would people take me seriously? Am I educated enough? Do I know enough? All the things came in. So I sat on that idea for 2 years while I was just like doing random bits and bobs on the side before I actually decided to launch it.
Yeah.
Wow. And now it's really successful, especially this year.
Yeah, I feel like the last 2 years, I did it smartly though. Like there's a method to my madness where I didn't just, a lot of people when they're in business, and you girlies would know, like they want to go from being a PT to a mindset coach, for example, and they just pivot hard, right? Which there is always a time and place for that. But for me, my pivot from being a personal trainer, online coach to more of a business mentor now has taken 3 years. Mm-hmm. Like I strategically did it over a stretch period of time because I wanted to maintain security in my business and also the sustainable side of my business as well. I didn't just want to like jump ships and completely get rid of the like PT side of me because I knew that there would be a teething process of like warming up my audience and all of that crossover that needs to happen.
Yeah. How much quicker do you make decisions now and just jump in after like delaying something for so long and it ended up being good?
Like within 5 seconds. It's so funny. I'm such a person where like the smallest minute decision takes me forever, but like the risky decision, I don't care. Just do it. Like it doesn't bother me, but like small little decisions that mean nothing, I'm like, I'll ponder on this for a week or two.
I feel that in my soul.
I've kind of gotten used to the whole like big decision made and I'm like, cool, yep, we're running with it. Yep, let's go.
Like honestly, the office move, I was like, I found an office, let's go look, we're moving.
So good. But
like,
so needed though. So needed.
Do you find that
so
that's
good.
something that you have to teach a lot of coaches is like to make quicker decisions in business? Yeah.
I want to speak to you about, because we have a lot of fitness coaches working with us. So I want to speak about the business side of things. And something that you just said about building sustainable business and actually taking the time, do you think in the industry at the moment there's way too much emphasis on overnight success and impatience with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally. I was speaking about this yesterday. The industry is over glorified. That starting a business is rainbows and fucking sunshines. And the reality is, if you want to build sustainable, secure business, so not a business that just gets you like quick cash injections that you do for maybe 12 months and then you're on to the next thing. I'm talking like full-time career business. It's a fucking slog when you start. And you can't expect to jump into any industry and just go from, 0 to 100, no clients to an overnight success. And the reality is that overnight success can happen. Like, we're living in the modern world. We're on social media, TikTok, Instagram. The opportunity to go viral can definitely happen. But can you sustain it? And does that happen for most people? Absolutely not. It's like the 1%.
Yeah. And if the overnight success does happen, it's 10 years leading up to that overnight success.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you around something that we've been discussing a lot lately, and it's the emphasis on business coaching containers, right? So they might be 3 or 6 months long. Realistically, a coach starting out in the industry or is a year in, do you think 3 months is enough time to yield results from a program, or do you believe it needs to be longer?
Longer.
Yeah.
It's the same with like fitness coaching. Hey, like, you're probably not going to, you can get good results in like an 8-week fitness coaching program. You also can get good results in like an 8-week business coaching program. But to actually build sustainable business, minimum 12 months, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree. Do you have a lot of difficult conversations with people that come on board around timeframes and what to expect in them timeframes?
Yeah. And it's all based off social media because people see people blowing up on social media, new client here, new client there, and they refuse to flex their patience muscle and actually do things consistently over a period of time. And a lot of people don't like, no one likes to fail, right? The fear of failure is scary for a lot of people, but not many people like to trial and error things. They think that if they do something and it doesn't work out the way that they want it to, that they can never redo it and then do it again. And then that also stops them from growing.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. I find that a lot of the discussions we're having, even in our world at the moment, is all based on mindset. It's mindset stopping the growth within business for people either judging you or for just having, I think, emotional immaturity in a business component of, well, that didn't work, it's failed, I failed as a coach. And do you see a lot of them patterns?
The main reason why I love business coaching so much, and like that's kind of where my business has pivoted to, is because, like, yes, I'm the traditional business coach in terms of like I can help you with the strategy and the systems and the onboarding processes and all of that, in my opinion, boring shit, right? But the real difference between like getting actual results is looking at the person behind the business. Like, if you are dysregulated, if you can't have hard conversations, if you can't make quick decisions, if you constantly base your worth on vanity metrics on social media, you attach emotion to absolutely everything that you do, you're never going to grow a successful business because you are always going to be your biggest limitation. And that's kind of the gap that I believe that I saw in the market before I like went, balls to wall with business coaching, was there is a lot of like Canva templates, fancy websites, all of that, which serves a purpose, absolutely. But there was nobody with the missing gap of like, what do you do between the person that has all of the fancy Canva templates, has the website, but still has all the business problems? Like, the gap is action. Like, that's the main gap. It's like people limit themselves to whatever, their conditioning, whatever they think that they can do. And then the gap of actually taking the action is the thing that's stopping them from even starting or growing their business in the first place.
Yeah, even on a personal note, when we were working together, I have essentially what you just explained. I have the fancy business, I have the staff, I have the success online, and everyone will probably look at the page and go, wow. But when I came to you, I was like, my life is a mess. Like, behind the scenes, I'm really struggling because I could not switch off.
Yeah.
And it was just like that one long conversation that we had, it skyrocketed my revenue towards the end of the year because I finally just let go of the expectations I had on myself. And it's crazy just like having one discussion did that. And I feel like for me, like personally reaching out to you, it was really difficult for me because I had an ego.
Of course.
And I can admit that. But then when I did it, I was like, oh my God, I should have done that earlier.
Yeah.
I
Because,
really
like,
should have done that earlier.
When messaging someone, you're like admitting it to yourself that there's a problem where like you didn't want to previously admit that was a problem.
Yeah.
Even in the message, I was like, I don't normally do this.
She was like sliding into my DMs. I don't usually do this. I'm scared. No, but it's true though. And you know what I find so interesting? Fitness coaches are the people with the biggest egos. Not that you are a fitness coach, but they always have a massive ego because they are so afraid that if they are lesser than, I say in quotations, or they are a bit further behind than they should be, I say in quotations again, that they're automatically a failure. Where it's like if you actually just drop your ego and learn, or drop your ego and see what the issue is, you're going to fast track your results. But it's always your ego because it wants to protect you, right? Like it's not a bad thing. It's just like a safety net that comes over and goes, oh, you know, actually, if I reach out to this person, then they're going to think that I'm weak, or they're going to think that I'm lying online, or they're going to think that I have a shit business, or whatever the thing is. And that makes them freak out.
Yeah. And I feel like it's also remembering that the person that you might be reaching out to or admitting that you're not where you're at is like you're lying, but you're not, but you've got to remember that that person that you're reaching out to, that person you're looking up to started where you were.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's not weird or weak or to be where you are.
Absolutely. And like, that's exactly it. Like I come across as like quite direct and all of that, but it's just because I'm passionate. Because like everything that I see people struggle with business, it's like, I've been there before. Like I've made that mistake. I've struggled with showing up. I've struggled with, you know, comparing myself to other people in the industry. I've struggled with, you know, somebody knowing more than me and me being like, well, why don't I have that result? It's just like, well, that person just learnt the skill set. You just need to learn that too.
Yeah.
So it's always coming from a place of like, I'm passionate and savage, but it's because I just care.
Just care so much.
Yeah, I just want to help you.
It gets the point across though.
And I know that you speak really highly of like getting a mentor in your business to reduce the amount of mistakes that you make, because having somebody in your corner that has already made those mistakes can help you bypass those. But do you think it's important for coaches to make mistakes in business to learn from them?
Yeah, absolutely. It also builds more resilience, right? Like if you are somebody who really struggles with showing up and potentially facing your failures or making mistakes and learning how to handle those, you've got to make them first to learn how to handle them. I also think like hiring a mentor, for me, it's a no-brainer. Like it always has been. I've always invested in my health, my education, and like my wellness, because when I think about mentorship, it's not necessarily I hire a mentor based on like how much money can you make me? And I think if you're going into mentorship going, this mentor has promised to make me X amount of money, and if they don't make it, you've already missed the whole point of investing in a mentor. I purely look at a mentor of like, what are your values and morals? Have you done what I want to do? And are you going to be able to essentially call me out on my shit? And I'm very much against like the hype coaching. I don't know if you guys, if anyone who doesn't know what it is, but it's just like your woo girls, like go queen. Oh my God, you can do it. Let's let's go, whatever. It's like that in the long term is probably not going to help you, where I want someone who can actually hold me accountable, you know, hold me to a higher standard and go, you know, you're this point in business and you're wanting to be here. The way that you're acting right now is not somebody who's going to get that goal or that result. So yeah, I think mentorship, no brainer, hands down.
Do you think it's a bit contradicting that fitness coaches preach that customers need coaches, but they won't have a coaching business?
It's out of integrity. Like absolutely. And then it's kind of like a catch-22, right? It's like they complain that everybody needs a coach because if you don't have a coach, you can't make progress. But then they won't let go of their ego to hire their own coach. But then they wonder why people ghost them and don't apply for their coaching because they're not willing to upskill and see their own cracks in their potential marketing or whatever's going on with their business. Yeah. So out of integrity, in my opinion. You can't preach investing if you're not willing to invest money into your own self.
Agreed.
Yeah.
With the coaches that you work with the pool of coaches, what are some of the key issues or problems that they don't solve in their businesses that might not be growing?
I think the biggest thing that I see, and like I said before, the main reason I got into business mentoring is like, you know how to build a business. Like reality is there is hours of podcasts that are free online. You can listen to this podcast. You can go and watch a video on YouTube. You can read all of the books of how to sell and market and whatever. It's not a fact that you don't have access to this knowledge. Like we have iPhones. We have access to everything at our fingertips. It's the fact that you can't action things because the person behind the business can't hold whatever level of success that you're trying to hit, or they don't know what to do next, or they don't back themselves. So the thing for me, it's like finding the gap between knowing all the things that you know and actually applying them, and then building a level of resilience to continue going when things don't work out the way that you want them to in business.
Do you think everyone just lacks a little bit of grit?
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you a bit of a controversial question, and it's I noticed this a lot myself. Do you think coaches just don't work hard enough to have the achievement that they want?
Yeah, I think I don't blame the coaches. I actually blame the coaches who are in my position preaching the wrong things on social media. And what I mean by that is there is like an ease and flow movement. I don't know if you guys are very much in the world of like, you know, a lot of people preach that business gets to be easy, and if things don't feel aligned, you shouldn't be doing them anymore, and you can work from your laptop in Bali and work the 2-hour work week and you can feel really good about yourself. And whilst all of that gets to be true, once you've built a sustainable, secure business, it's probably not going to be true for your first 1 to 4 years in reality. So I don't blame the coaches of like not working hard enough. I blame the content that they're consuming for making them feel like they get the opportunity to have this freedom before they've really earned it. And then they don't work hard because they think that it's meant to be super easy. But like the reality is, if you want freedom, it has to come with sacrifice, and the sacrifice has to be hard work whilst you're in the growth phases of business.
Even past the growth phase, business doesn't get easier. You just get more resilient.
Oh, absolutely.
And the conversations get tougher the bigger that you get. And I think there's a lot of emphasis on scaling a business and having a team, but I personally don't think people understand how hard it is to have a team. Was that a bit shocking to you?
Honestly, I still am like scarred from it. Not really scarred from it.
Do you have a horror story?
But so the way that I hired team was I hired a VA who still works with me now in my business. She's been working with me for such a long time and I love her to death. But then I also hired co-coaches. So I see a lot of personal trainers, you know, get busy or start getting lots of clients, and then they go and they hire a co-coach, which to me, I'm like, there is so many different ways that you could scale a business a lot smarter than doing that. And I think at the time, what I knew, the tools that I had at the time was like, I'm really busy. I don't have time to coach anyone else. I'm going to hire more people to coach them for me. But then managing that relationship. So 1, are they a good coach? 2, do they represent my brand with keeping my reputation upheld? And then 3, eventually they're probably going to want to open their own business, right? They learn the ins and outs of your business, and then eventually they probably want to go and do their own thing, which is great. So then you come to the issue of staff turnover, people not staying for really long periods of time, or the client coming, absolutely loving the service, and then the coach being like, actually, I'm going to go do my own thing now. And it becomes very murky. So for me, managing people and then managing clients and then managing business, after that, I was like, I just don't know if I want to do that for a while.
In the fitness side, is it just you now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But majority of my business is more business coaching now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the business coaching side, is it just your VA and you?
Yeah.
That's
Just
really
us.
good. You've scaled your business so well.
Yes. I am looking for a content creator. So if anyone's listening that wants to create content that lives in Melbourne, hit me up.
Just a cheeky little plug.
If anyone's looking for a job.
I've obviously been following you closely for a while, but in a bit of the research we did leading into the podcast, you've spoken on your feed around an instance online where someone was tearing you down. Do you want to speak about it?
Yeah. So maybe a year ago now, a year and a half ago, I get lost in the time frames. I'm living life too fast. I forget time doesn't exist to me. But I woke up to a DM from a girl that I'd never spoken to before, sending me a message just saying, hey, there's this Instagram account going around and they've made a video of you. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, I don't want to send you the video because I don't want to share it so it gets more traction, but this is the Instagram account. So I went on the account, and essentially this person who I've never met before, someone's crusty, dusty little son, decided to make actually it was 3 in total in the end, but 2 hate videos of me just ripping me apart, like the way I look, my business, everything, like whatever you could think of. And it was really funny because I know the question that you're going to ask me next is probably like, how did you handle that? And at the time, I just thought it was hilarious. So the first video he made, I laughed. My partner was like, that's not on. I'm going to find 2 ears. But I laughed about it. I was like, whatever it is, what it is, because none of it was true. I think if there was truth to that and I had like my ego flare up a little bit, or I felt like I needed to protect myself in that moment, I probably would have answered that question a lot differently. But I just laughed about it. And then I thought, you know what? If I can survive somebody making 3 hate videos of me, I can survive absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Do you think if it happened to you earlier in your journey, it would have been a bit different?
Oh, it would have crumbled me. Absolutely. But you have to build your tolerance to things like this, right? So a lot of people who are wanting to start a business, or maybe they're new in business and they're in that lingo of like, I want to post content, but I'm scared if somebody doesn't like me, or I'm scared to get hate. You never become okay with the hate. You just learn how to increase your tolerance to it. So early days, if that happened, I would have just canceled my Instagram, shut down my business, and probably you never would have seen me again. But now I go, okay, that's a you thing, not a me thing. And my window of tolerance to be able to deal with people who I don't know online saying something about me or misunderstanding me is a lot larger now, versus when I started, it was a lot smaller. So you just have to practice flexing that tolerance window.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things. I love the saying how it's like, not everyone will like you, and that's okay because you don't even like everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, it's so different to like go and make 3 whole videos and be like, okay, do you hate me or do you love me? Like, are you low-key obsessed?
I think he loved me.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably spent like a good hour on those videos. Like, they were intricate. Like, he was cutting scenes.
Wow.
Like, who has the time to do that?
But that's why I'm like, I don't know if that's an ego thing to be like, I'm pretty sure you love me. Like,
He probably did.
because I think that too would be like, okay, a bit obsessive, bud. Like,
Yeah, a bit weird.
You know how like when people meet people and they're like, they don't like me. Kira's got the opposite, where she's like, everyone loves me so much.
So my sister said to me once, she was like, your problem is that you walk into a group of people and you don't worry that people won't like you. You worry that you won't like them.
That's actually so good.
Right?
If more people could live like that, that would be great.
I'll be like, oh man, is there going to be anyone that I like? She's like, it's a bit of a beigey red flag.
Kira definitely has the skill set to run a business.
I feel like the skill set's there, but the mindset isn't. I'm like, no, la-di-da. But yeah, no, I feel like I'd laugh if somebody made a hate. And like, to make sure that you think like, if any of this is true, then maybe I should like rethink about it. But if none of it's true, then why the fuck would I care? Like,
yeah. And I think when you are like, you know, growing a business, if you're practicing within integrity, somebody saying something where they disagree with you, if you're in integrity, you know what you're posting is not out of a malicious intent, you're not spreading misinformation, somebody having a different argument to you or coming into your comments and saying something where they don't agree with you should be okay.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is like people are so scared to have a different opinion, and everybody is allowed to have a different opinion. And I actually quite like a different opinion conversation because you get to learn more about the other side.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, people get so like, oh, and they're back up against a wall. But I feel like most people just haven't learned how to have a conversation and like back themselves. Like, so somebody coming in and questioning their integrity, they feel attacked, but they don't know how to like
just have a conversation.
Their side and just have a conversation about it.
Have you had a switch like that where you've believed something and now you can see the other side?
Oh, so many things.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone does, especially in their fitness journey and their business journey. It's like, you know, 5 years ago, what most of us were, you know, saying online, as you evolve and change as a human, it probably changes quite a lot. But I will say the one thing that I have always preached on about is building more resilience in business and taking more action. Like, even 3 years ago, if you scroll down on my Instagram, you'll see that I speak about this throughout my fitness content and throughout my business content. So I am very much rooted in what I believe, but there's definitely things that I've changed my mind on.
There's lots of things, mindset being one of them for me.
Yeah,
I
really.
was not a huge believer in mindset in business and energy in business. Didn't believe in it until started last year, and then it changed everything for me.
How interesting is that? You know what? I kind of felt the same though. Like, for the first 2 years of my business, I was like, I just need the strategy. Like, how do I market myself? How do I create this thing on Canva? What language do I use online? And then I was like, well, I've got all the tools. Like, it's all up here. Like, I'm coaching my clients every day. I know exactly what I'm helping them with. I know exactly what their problems are. But it wasn't because I didn't know what I was doing. It was the fact that I couldn't action it because I was so afraid. I was afraid that people would judge me, I would fail, all the things.
I think it's also when we first started, there was so much toxic masculinity and not that it's a bad thing, but male business coaches not understanding how female is driven to grow a business. And I think that was a huge core factor. It's like, don't let your emotions get in the way. And that did a bit of damage in the way of energy is everything now.
And also as well, like there wasn't a lot of female business mentors maybe 6 years ago, or I mean, I wasn't consuming a lot of their content versus now it's like the women are like, yeah, I can fucking teach other people about business as well. It's not just a man's world.
What do you feel about the surge of business coaches post-COVID?
Okay, the savage part of me is like, you can't be a business coach unless you have scaled and grown a business successfully. I think if you are naive to think that somebody who has been in business for 1 year can teach you how to scale a business, you're probably a little bit silly and maybe you're wasting your money. Because a year in business, it's nothing, right? Like you're not going to have the lessons learned, the highs, the lows. So like one year in business to me was a blur. Yeah. The last 4 years in business to me is where I've really learnt hard fucking lessons. I've learnt how to show up. I've learnt the things that actually work. I've tried, I've tested, I've spent lots of money in doing all of this stuff to, figure out my proven method that actually works in growing a business. But year one, I'm like, you can't be teaching other people that because you haven't had those lessons yet. So if you have successfully scaled a business and you've been doing it for a couple of years, maybe 4 years, I think you're good. But if you're like 1 year in, prob's not.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would suggest to people to look for in a mentor if they are looking, to find someone themselves other than them run and scale a business?
I think you need to get along with the person that's going to coach you. Like when I look at business mentorship, I look at it's a relationship building. Like firstly, I need to know absolutely everything about your business, how much money you're making, how many clients you have, all the things that are going on. Then I need to know everything about you, what you're afraid of, the things that keep you stuck, everything. It's quite an intimate relationship and it can be quite vulnerable at times. But then also on the other side, I need to trust you because I'm sharing all of my secrets in growing a business with you. And I think if you guys can't get along in like a friendship element, not as in like, best friends going out for cocktail vibes, but just like you like that person as a person, it's probably not going to work. The other thing I would look at is like values, morals, levels of integrity. So that's what I always go through. Like if I'm looking at hiring a mentor, I'm like, okay, what are their values? Do they align with me? What are their like morals? Are they the person that's going to get on the internet and like rip another coach online? It's like, that's probably not my kind of person. And then are they like, integral? Are they doing the things they say they do behind the scenes? Like if they value their health, are they actually going to the gym? Do they value their mindset? Are they actually upskilling in that? So I'm very like intricate when I hire someone. I'm like looking at every part of their life because I want to know, one, are we going to get along? But two, do we share common values and interests and morals and integrity?
Yeah. Hire slow, fire fast.
Yes.
Talking about firing, have you ever fired a client?
Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple.
In fitness and business?
Both.
Do you want to speak about like the situation? Because I feel even at the moment, I've got multiple discussions happening around customers just being unreliable. And I think one of the main areas that people struggle with is a scarcity mindset of, but they're paying me, I want to keep them, they're being really frustrating, they're making me anxious. And it's the conversation around you need to fire them to get more aligned customers and cop the brunt for a little bit. So I want to really open the discussion because I feel like it's quite taboo, but it's okay to fire people. Like it's okay to fire your customers. So I want to get a little bit of context as to maybe some reasoning in the fitness side of things, just to give someone listening to this the confidence to do it.
Yeah. So I think the clients that I've fired in a fitness context have always come down to I actually can't help them anymore. So if I have a client who is, they have all these goals, but they're like the constant person making excuses, they're not showing up for themselves, and I've tried everything, all avenues. I'm actually just going to say, I don't think this is working out. I think you're better to go and see X, Y, and Z and refer them out to either another coach or whatever they need help with. But I do believe that if you are entertaining clients that are draining your energy, because the reality is you're going to have clients that do drain your energy. If they are draining your energy, they're not, upholding their end of the coaching bargain, because it takes two to tango in a coaching relationship. It's actually okay to let go of them, because when you allow yourself the space of not this person not doing what they're meant to be doing and all the things, more clients will come to you. But if you're constantly bogged down by somebody or even a client that's like not paying you on time, and you've had multiple conversations of like, hey, your payments keep failing, you've got 5 missed payments, when can you pay them? They ghost you, then they reply, then they pay late. It's like even something like that, it's like quite leaky energy. You could just move that client onto somebody else or say this relationship is not working anymore, knowing that more clients that are more aligned, that probably will pay you on time and will do the work, are going to come in.
How do you deal with the reputational side of that? Obviously, we want people to speak positively about our businesses. How would you combat that negative thought of, well, they're just going to go talk shit about me, basically?
I think for me, when I think about protecting your reputation, if I know that I have done everything in my power, I have coached them to the best of my abilities, I've given them all the tools, I've been such a good support, I, at the end of the day, cannot control what they say. And I think it is down to letting go of that control. Now, obviously, reputation is very important in business. If you don't get someone the result, they are going to be the first person to tell everyone about it. Versus if you get someone a result, they probably tell less people. It's like when you think about Google reviews. You have one bad experience. It takes me having one bad experience to write the worst Google review, versus I could go to a restaurant 10 times and love it, but never say, oh my God, this is the best restaurant I've been to. But I also think on the flip side of that, it's like, do the reflection first. So could I have done more as the coach? If I've ticked all my boxes, you can't control it. So it's completely out of your control. So I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, what if this person's saying that I'm shit? What if this? What is that? And if we wanted to dive deeper, we could dive deeper into, after you've done the reflection and you have ticked all your boxes of, as the coach, I've done absolutely everything that I can do. I've asked the questions, I've shown up, I've pushed them, I've given them all of the tools. You could then also look at like the person that is going to go as the client and talk shit is probably the person that was never going to get the result in the first place. They're probably the person that's not taking the action, that's not listening, that's not willing to change, that's still full of excuses.
Can you pick a victim mentality as soon as they sign on with you?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you watch them closely or what?
Early on in business, no, I couldn't pick it. Now I can, and I won't work with them.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously in a position, very privileged. I've grown my business where I can be a little bit more, I can pick who I want to work with. But if you come in and you want just money results in your business, I'm not going to work with you, because when you're really tied to that money element, it becomes really hard to coach you, and you're just constantly moving from a place of dysregulation. If you come in and, you're saying certain things in my DMs and you are more in that victim mindset, I won't coach you. I'll just refer you to somebody else.
Yeah. I love that. I think there's such an emphasis on numbers, because business coaching is so much more than a number. It's a relationship that you have with an individual that's there for you in your darkest times. And I think a lot of people really underestimate the value of that. And just having someone there, it's an outcome.
Yeah, I agree. I also think as well, like I said before, if you're getting into mentorship purely based on hiring that mentor because you want to make money in your business, and like obviously money is an important part of business. If you're not making money, you don't have a business. We all know that. But you're missing the whole point of mentorship. It is a relationship, and it's also a soundboard. Like literally a week ago, I was bawling my eyes out on a VM to my mentor about the smallest inconvenient thing that happened in my day, but I was so emotional about it. Could I have done that to my partner, who would have just been like, doesn't own a business, doesn't understand? He'd just be like, you're literally fine. Like, it's all good. You know what I mean?
I don't want logic, I want emotion.
Yeah, but having that person that gets it because they've been there as well, it's like that is a time collapse for you. Because instead of you sitting in that emotion that could derail you for months, you have someone that goes, hey, I actually know exactly how you feel. You're going to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to feel your shit. We're not ignoring that, but you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to get over that a hell of a lot quicker.
When you say, obviously making money is important and it's a time collapse, right? But You often speak about when you first started mentorship, you put everything you had into that in order to grow. Obviously, there is a restriction of you can't be stupid. Like you have to have the money there. But when you were putting all your money into that, when you're messaging that across, is it the time collapse? Is it getting the money at the end? Like, what do you think the benefit is of just taking the leap even when you can't?
I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And like I actually at that time was like, I don't know how to run an online business. So when I did face-to-face coaching, I didn't have an online presence. I had like 1,967 Instagram followers to be exact, because my partner, because my partner used to have 2,000 followers. And I was like, that's so weird. You don't even use Instagram. How do you have more followers than me? And I remember, sorry, side note. I remember when I invested in that coach, it was actually like, I don't know how to run an online business, nor were online businesses big in Australia at the time, like online coaching businesses. So I think there is an element to like, don't be an idiot. Like if you're putting yourself in financial strain to invest in a mentor, you're just dumb, in my opinion, because you're going to come from a place where you are super dysregulated, and then your business is going to be really stressful and you're going to always feel like you're chasing your tail. But if you're in a position where you're making okay money in your business, but you know that you want to get to the next level, whatever that is, hiring a team member, scaling your business, moving full-time online from face to face, and you can financially afford it and still live comfortably without feeling super stressed all the time, then yes, I think it's a no-brainer. And if you can't afford one-on-one mentorship, do something that is lower cost that's still going to move the needle forward for you.
Like side hustle to see.
Like side hustle to see.
With coaching, you collaborate a lot with coaches, like lots of events, lots of podcasts. Do you believe there's a huge lack in the industry due to tall poppy with competition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a podcast of my own, in case you guys don't know, with my best friend Gemma. She's also a coach. She's a fitness coach online in the industry. We did an event together, and then I also co-collaborated with another business coach last year, and we did an event together. I think a lot of people, probably the reason that a lot of people fear posting themselves online is because they are worried about tall poppy syndrome. It's so much easier to see someone who's doing better than you and cut them at the knees and be like, they're a liar, they're this, they're that, than actually learning and understanding and leaning into that. So I definitely think there's an issue with tall poppy, but do I think that that should be a deciding factor as to why or why not you don't do well in business, go after what you want and like make noise in the industry? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I love that. I do also want to ask you, you've spoken recently about like how important it is to keep being a beginner at things. Because I know you recently started boxing, right?
Oh, it's so humbling, guys. So humbling.
Yeah. And I wanted to relate that kind of back to business as well. So how important it is to be a beginner at things. Do you think people in business get scared to try something and be the beginner at it just because they don't know anything about it?
Yeah, all the time. Like if you watch, and I'm a massive observer, I'm watching all of you motherfuckers listening, not kidding, but I'm a massive observer. So like you'll watch someone, they'll launch something and then it doesn't go the way that they want. So they pull it from their offer suite because they haven't learnt anything. They haven't decided to go, okay, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Let's look at the data of why it didn't work and then let's redo it and learn the skill set. So when I think about like selling, for example, when I was a face-to-face personal trainer, I could sell my services like that. I never found selling hard. I never found it awkward. I never found it uncomfortable, ever. Then when I got online, I was like, I can't sell fucking shit. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I don't know what to say. And I had to learn the skill of selling online, because selling in person and selling online, two different skill sets. Then you go to email marketing. You've got to then learn the skill of selling via email marketing, because again, it's completely different. When I think about like my podcast, for example, you learn how to produce, your clips for Instagram and they perform well. But then how do you grow the listeners on Spotify? Or how do you use YouTube? You have to learn the skill set of all of these different platforms. So I think if you're in business and you are against being a student, or you think that you have this mentality of like, I don't need to learn it, don't let it punch you in the face, because it will. Like, you get complacent in your business. You think that you're above it. You think that you've mastered the skill. Even like when we look, side note, when we looked like 2020. So when COVID happened, selling online, easy, piece of cake. I could launch like 15 different things. People would eat it up. everyone was doing it, right? Because people were at home, they had more disposable income, they didn't have much to do, and they wanted to try new things while they had more time on their hands. Then you look at the buyer changing over the last 4 years or 5 years since COVID. The way you sell is completely different to the way that you sold in 2020. But if I sat there and went, well, I could sell easy in 2020, I wouldn't have the business I have today. But I refuse to get complacent. And so many people do that, is they're like, I can do it on my own now, I feel good. And then the industry changes and they don't adapt, they don't pivot, they get complacent, and then they lose 10 clients, they freak the fuck out, and they don't know how to fill those spots again.
I will definitely say, even though at the start of the podcast we mentioned, you know, you made $500,000 in a year, which is incredible, but you're everywhere. Like, you're always on your stories, you're always posting, you're always in the emails, you're on YouTube Shorts, you're got a podcast. Like, it's not, I feel like a lot of people look at that outcome and they go, I want that by just posting on social media. And it's like, you can't have both. And it's a credit to you because you're everywhere. And like, I'm obviously subscribed and I read them because I'm so interested, because you've brought me into your world and you've primed me to the point where it's like, I can just come back to you if I wanted to. So I think that's a really big lesson for people listening. It's like, your social media is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you refuse to learn it, then you're not going to get there, and that's your own fault.
And it's also fixing your relationship to social media.
Yeah.
So like, if you go into the mindset of like, social media is toxic, it's a highlight reel, everyone's just fake, you're never going to grow on social media, because you're already going in with this negative energy of everything's fake, nothing I do gets traction, nobody likes me. It's like that victim mentality. If you can fix your relationship to social media and go, okay, I have a free tool. I don't have to spend any money to market myself. 20 years ago, I'd have to put a billboard that would cost $80,000 on the side of a highway and hope to get a phone call. Hope. I now can market myself. It's free. I can get my impact across, my message across, everything that I want people to know about me across on social media. If you can look at it as a way to impact people's lives instead of how toxic and fake and la-da-da, insert whatever thing here, your business will grow. But it comes from your mentality to your social media as well. And also that goes on to a little tangent about like, unfollow people that make you feel like shit. Like, if you're comparing people to people online, just unfollow them, block them, mute them. Who cares? If you're never going to see them in real life, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that. Do you actually have a lot of people come through that have problems with like saying that they have imposter syndrome very often? Because I swear I see it everywhere, and you're like, no, you don't. Like, the actual definition of imposter syndrome. And like, I feel like I just see it all the time. I wanted to get your opinion on.
Yeah, I feel like the imposter syndrome thing is an interesting one, because if you feel like everything is a fluke or you don't know what you're doing, there's probably truth to it. So like, if you feel like an imposter and you feel incapable, it's like, maybe you need to look and go, okay, do I need to learn more? Do I need to spend more time growing my own business before I help other people grow theirs? And that's okay. But then you also need to know, like, where is that just a limitation for you, where you're just trying to keep yourself safe?
Yeah. Like, do you think that they're just using it as an excuse to not like do what they're wanting to do, or like to procrastinate is what I want to say.
And procrastination, is just a way to avoid the hard thing. Like, when you procrastinate a task, you're just like avoiding it. You're avoiding it because you're afraid that you're going to fail or look like an idiot, or you don't know enough, or it feels too hard or too out of reach, or it stretches you in some capacity. So you just avoid it.
Yeah.
And then you say, I'm just procrastinating, I'm so busy.
Like, is it an actual reason, or are you just making excuses?
I would just like, the crux of it, the root of it would be, you're just making excuses. And the reason that you're making excuses is because you're afraid of something. And this is what like a lot of people miss in business, is they don't look at, they always are looking for the next best strategy, the shiny object. We know that, but nobody looks at like the identity that has to be built when building a business. So like, if you're the person that wants to make $50,000 a month in their business, you right now avoiding the smallest of tasks of filming a fucking video with your face in it is not going to be the same person that gets the $50,000 cash month in their business. There's no way. Like, you have to show up and you have to get through your own excuses. And that is going to, you're going to have to increase your tolerance to putting yourself out there, putting your face on social media, learning new skill sets, all the things we spoke about.
Yeah. And I know that you said just before about like, do you need to learn something? Do you need to grow in another space? I do want to ask you, is there any other course or program or anything like that besides your own, because we'll give you your own little cheeky plug at the end, but that you could like recommend that either you've completed or you've seen that are actually beneficial for coaches or people to be able to do?
I would say, so I did an NLP course 4 or 5 years ago maybe. If you can learn more about the psychology of buying and human behavior in business, you will 10x your results. And the reason I say that is like I could say like go and do like a sales course or a marketing course or something along those lines. But a lot of the time we don't skill stack. We just learn the same thing we already know in a different texture or a different way. So what I mean by that is like, just say you're a mindset coach, for example, you do mindset coaching and then you go and you do your breath work and then you hire a mindset coach that is a business coach that just reinforces all of your bad behaviors, habits, patterns, excuses, beliefs, instead of actually learning, okay, cool, I know how to do mindset. I know how to coach people on the gym floor as a personal trainer. What I don't know is how to market or how to sell or the human psychology of buying. So for me, I would do some sort of, whether it's an NLP course, if you want to go down that route, or some sort of way to learn more about like the psychology of humans is going to help so much if you're building a business online and you're wanting to market, and also just understand how people behave. It just gives you like the one up.
Yeah. I really like that.
I wanted to ask, obviously you've had so much growth in business. What has it been like navigating personal relationships with how quickly you've grown? Like, was there ever a stage with your partner now where you're like, I'm growing so quickly, like I need you to catch up to me kind of thing, or friends?
I think for me, I'm very, very blessed that that all of my friends, are what I like to call normies, right? They just live in the real world. And the reason I say that is because it's very easy if all of your friends are coaches, if all of your friends are doing the same things as you, to get caught up in like this little echo chamber of it not being the real life. Like obviously your business growth is real life, but it gets very easy to get caught up in this kind of community of coaches with the same struggles and the same problems. And you kind of all just like lick each other's wounds in like a weird way to put it. Versus the people that I have that are really close to me, they're like all work normal jobs. They're all doing 9 to 5s. They're all really successful in their own rights. And I think that for me has always kept me really grounded and also very humble in the sense of I know that they're doing so much that will push me to do so much, and we are achieving different things at different times. But I have had moments where I'm like, this is cooked. Like things are moving quickly and like you're really stressed, or like you become snappy at your partner or whatever the thing is. And it's like, that's my work that I know I need to work on.
I think it's a really difficult one, just dealing. It's such a accelerated growth period that so many people wouldn't experience. It's just wild. It was something I struggled with.
It's also like people perceive you differently. So this is probably the hardest thing that we're laying it all on the line here. This is probably the hardest thing that I've had to deal with in the last 12 months is like the way people perceive me is changing based on my level of quote unquote success. So the more successful you are, the easier target you become as the person that people blame. If they don't get the results, it's your fault. If you say something online that they don't agree with, you're the bad person. And being okay with being misunderstood has been something I've been playing around with in the background for like the last 12 months of like, I can't control how people see me, but I know if I don't post the things that I truly believe in, long term, that's going to do more damage for me. And just building a better relationship with like, it's okay to be misunderstood. It's okay if you're painted out to be the bad person. Like, you know your vision, you know your mission, and it's not about me. I think a lot of people when they grow businesses, they get caught up in it being about them, how they look on social media, how much money they make, how many clients they get, and they forget the whole point is growing a business is not about you. It's about the impact, right? And I know that sounds cliche, but I have never been wavered in my business regardless of like those hate videos we spoke about before or any of that, because my mission is so strong. Like I know the impact I want to make. I know where I'm going. It's like you can fucking comment something mean on my post. I don't care. Because like it's not for you. It doesn't matter. It's for the person that I know it's for, that is going to read it and get so much out of it.
Yeah. Like remembering the reason you got into this business was to help people. And so like that's the main outcome.
Thank you so much. This chat's been awesome.
That went so quickly.
It has flown by. But yeah, for everyone, where can they find you? Give yourself a plug.
the Kate Morris on Instagram, and you'll find all my links and all the things in there.
I love that so much.
Thank you so much. That was such a
for
great chat. It was like a little comfort blanket,
Yeah.
like a little safe space.
Perfect.
I
And-
really enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for everyone to listening. in.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.